The German Army High Command had, even before the campaign against France, strongly lobbied for German occupation of the country, or at the very least, the installation of a favourable collaboration government. The Treaty of Halifax had come under significant criticism, led by Chief of Army Werner von Fritsch, who was known for his passionate hatred for democracy, Jewish people, women in general, and the French in particular. Thus, when the syndicalists capitulated and the Kaiser proclaimed that he would honor the treaty and transfer control of the ancestral French lands to Field Marshal Montdac, head of the French Republic, the German military command was seething. Von Fritsch, unable to refuse the direct order from the Kaiser, but unwilling to follow it, resorted to malicious compliance. Orders were prepared for an immediate withdrawal of all German forces and distributed along the front lines and regional military commands. With German punctuality, the minute the treaty came into power, German soldiers all across France loaded the last remaining equipment onto trucks and redeployed back towards Germany or towards the Spanish front, leaving behind a bewildered local populace which was suddenly confronted with a complete absence of any military power to keep order. The French Republican Army was still in Africa, as no handover of responsibilities had been agreed upon yet, and a mixture of syndicalist forces from Italy and local cadres that had gone into hiding rapidly re-established syndicalist control from Toulouse to Lyon. Yeah, the situation certainly has become somewhat chaotic with a somewhat uncoordinated handover from Germany to the French Republic of control for the French lands, which the Italians, who were on retreat on their eastern front and have lost Boulogne, have, exploited together with locals to retake certain portions of the French Republic from the French, who were suspiciously absent. In the Atlantic, if ever they try to resupply anything, we are still hunting down trade convoys wherever we can, and we are being reasonably successful about this. I've sunk a German convoy, a few more Cuban convoys here, so our submarines are doing a good job. Meanwhile, Odessa is still under massive pressure from combined German-Austrian forces, but the main part of Guderian's medium tank divisions has been pulled off, presumably either to Germany for re-establishment of fighting power, or to the Spanish front, in order to finish off the situation there before Portugal can take over and the Entente controls the whole territory in Western Europe. Which gives us an opportunity, and that opportunity is for General Shteyfon to make a break out of Kaunas unannounced, because we are not actually planning any of this. So it's a complete surprise attack. The tank divisions aren't quite reconstituted yet, but what we'll attempt is to break through the relatively weakly defended lines near Kaunas and take Memel, cutting off Riga as well as the rest of the northern forces. Somebody mentioned that I made a little bit of a mistake in buying support equipment. I can't even actually see that might actually have gone through already. So yeah, obviously I should be. Is there no max button? Okay, that's the factories. That's the max button, yeah. And they actually won't sell us anything. Okay, so these people will not... Panama will not sell us support equipment. Nobody else. Oh, no, there's a bit. 152. Let's see if we can purchase that. Yeah, that's more like it. Yeah, I should actually do this. The Ottomans have a bit of support equipment that we would like to purchase, rather than the single unit of support equipment. A slight clerical error there. We'll put it down to wartime confusion. Other than that, I think that's about it what we can get on the market. So we're not going to do anything else here. We do have an available special project. I think I'm going to save up. I think I said I was going to save up the points for the land cruiser, because I'm going to need 3 points for that monstrosity. So probably we'll see what's ending first, the war or that. But we do have Okay, that's just the special project notifier, I presume. No, we have a prototype iteration gone through, so that must be the heavy railway gun. So a critical test has been successful, well done, and we have taken care of things there. Good to hear. All right, so currently still trying to build up the fortification lines here, because while the German war against syndicalism is somewhat confused, the lines we're still under strength. They have almost 120 divisions now at the line towards Odessa, and that is definitely the Schwerpunkt of their assault. So holding here, despite the fact that we have only a few available anti-tank divisions. Once we've beaten back the Panzer, we've got 4 Panzer divisions now under von Manstein hitting us, and they still have 2 Austrian Panzer divisions in reserve, which is going to cause us a bit more trouble. Right, air situation. We are contesting in Ukraine. And we are contesting in the Baltics. Belarus is currently coming under attack, which is less than ideal, but not an awful lot we can do about it, because we are simply lacking the numbers in the air. So hopefully once the whole fortification situation is done, we can get back to actually building factories, because that is somewhat urgent. So let's have a quick look. And do we still need I'm not sure we need that. It's almost done, so we'll finish that up, the infrastructure there. But other than that, yeah, the railway lines aren't going to be needed as well. So our industry definitely has enough to do for the rest of the year. And mostly we are going to be on the defense, also due to massive shortages of everything. However, we have the opportunity here to make a bit of a break. Now I'm thinking, I don't think I can get directly here, so but I'm pretty sure we can attack this weakly defended position there in the north, and we'll get some infantry support in there as well if we need it. We do have available air doctrine, although I mean we may as well take it, but this is tactical bombings, which we're not using, ground support not yet using, naval mission not using, strat bombing, and this would be interception detection, which interception we're also not using mostly. So none of this really particularly important. I'm just gonna tick it off here, and because I don't need all the air experience for other things. The immediate support, the immediate necessity for the Air Force isn't quite there. All right, I think that should pretty much cover it. So we've got 2 sections to look after. We have to make sure that Odessa holds, and we'll have to do the localized counterattack to break through the lines and inflict a painful defeat to the Germans. But let's see how that looks like. Okay. Making sure that these lines are holding in the south here. Obviously, the problem is, since we're under consistent attack, we are not in a position to actually build fortifications, because the assaults here are relentless, and we are going to send the troops right back to the front lines. This assault here is definitely a difficult one to defeat, but I think the Panzer divisions are now starting to lose steam, and hopefully once the Panzer divisions are defeated, and the French Republic has declared war in Africa, I think you have bigger problems, to be honest. But yes, they're going for it might actually be a local uprising. We'll see about that. And it looks like there is now a counterattack from the French happening to put down this uprising. Or the Kaiser has put his foot down and told the Germans to turn around and get their divisions back on the lines. The description of von Fritsch, by the way, was historically accurate. He was a vile kind of person, most definitely. worst of the worst. Unfortunately, all the troops that get defeated along the lines here try to move towards Odessa, which makes no sense because they're supposed to stay here. But that means I consistently have to take care and micromanage these. Okay, they have started reinforcing, somewhat reinforcing the positions here, but I don't think that is going to help them particularly unless they bring significant more forces on. And the advanced computing machine is complete, beginning to work on the computers capable of storing programs and making use of transistors. Definitely. So we're done with the advanced computing machine, which means we can do the advanced radio as well, unless we have something more urgent to research. But this is still fair amounts out. I could do the advanced equipment conversion because that would. I think it. I do have to retest that if that's still the case. But I think that does help with naval things. Otherwise, yeah, we've got a few more naval techs that we could. But the improved heavy battery is. That's going to be way too expensive to research. But I might do the armor-piercing cup shells just for improved attack on the capital ships. That might be a nice one to do, and it's only taking 40 days. So let's get that underway. I think we were using this one. Yeah, that's the one we were using. All right, so that's happening. All right. Much weaker follow-up attack from the Austrians now that the Germans have been defeated, and they're also struggling with supply. How's the southern assault here looking? That's mainly Austrian infantry. They're never going to get through that, but we are actually having trouble supplying Odessa. So the amount of troops that we've got here is beginning to hinder the war effort. So that is less than ideal that our troops are hungry, but we'll have to keep an eye on that. There's not an awful lot I can do about it at this point. We do have an additional division from the 12th Army coming in, so we're going to get these towards the northern flank as well. And that means we've almost got the tanks in position. We're just waiting for a few of them and see if we can break out from Kaunas while the Germans are repositioning their infantry divisions. I'm not sure if they have spotted our tank divisions, but as soon as we've gotten them in place in Kaunas, we will begin the operations to break out attacks. We have a fair amount of infantry here as well. We've got the 9th armies under Shatilov, which are, I think, relatively well equipped at this point, so they can assist with the assault. So I'm just going to wait for a few more tank divisions. We've got 2 more coming in here. Where's the rest of them? Okay, there. So we've got two armored divisions here right now. The German troops are moving around, but they're relatively. They seem to have been recently redeployed. So we'll launch the assault and we get the infantry to support that. We do have an increasing number of German troops in the field, but most of them are not overly well organized at this point, and I don't want to give them time to reinforce the lines there. Okay, so for now, the positions here are holding back the Austrian attacks. I don't know if the German tank divisions are still here or if they are redeploying. So we do have to make sure that we make this breakthrough before Germany can bring their tank divisions on to bear. So that's why the urgency, despite the fact that there's a fair number of German divisions actually now defending this position. But if we let them spot the tanks, then they'll bring more in. The Symphony of Liberation. With all this war going on, it's always good to have some motivational stuff as well. Shostakovich created the first draft of the future 7th Symphony before the war. This first contour, which grew into the overwhelming power of the snare drum beats, reflected the state of anxiety, the heavy foreboding that was then in the air. Shostakovich showed the work to his friends and students, but until recently did not consider it necessary to perform or publish it. I finished the first part of this work on September the 3rd, the second on September 17, and the third on September 29. And now I'm finishing the last, fourth part. I'm composing at a hellish speed and I can't stop. The finished 7th Symphony has already aroused great interest among Russian and foreign critics. Shostakovich decided to outline a short program titles for all sections of the symphony: War, Memories, Native Spread, and Victory, while the symphony itself received the name The Symphony of Liberation. The premiere of Symphony No. 7 took place in Petrograd, in the Great Hall of the Petrograd Philharmonic Society, under the orchestra of the Little Opera Theatre, and was conducted by Samuil Samusud, known for his efforts of turning the Little Opera Theatre into the laboratory of Russian opera, alongside extensive cooperation with Shostakovich. The performance of the symphony took place in front of a completely overcrowded hall, broadcast on the radio across the country. The comment of writer Alexei Tolstoy, and the 7th Symphony arose from the conscience of the Russian people, who without hesitation accepted mortal combat with the black forces. It has grown to the size of great world art, understandable at all latitudes and meridians, because it tells the truth about a man in an unprecedented time of his trials. Soon appeared in more than one magazine, joining the avalanche of praise from critics. Soon after the premiere, the military organized tours of several orchestras to the fronts, where the Symphony of Liberation was met with applause from frontline soldiers and commanders who had gotten the chance to experience civilian life away from home. Glory to the Liberators, 4% war support. I am actually going to have to take a look if that's a real thing, or if this is, if we're too far in old history. Classical music's not my forte, so I'll take a look and see if I can find anything. All right, Odessa flank is holding. So we are going to immediately focus on bringing the tank divisions to bear here, and trying to fight our way through the German forces. But we've got 3 divisions on target now. So the Germans are reinforcing 7 divisions now here, which means we can probably try to break out in the north here as well. So we'll send 3 tank divisions northwards and see if we can make a second breach at the northern flank of this approach, and just reinforce everything. All right. All tank divisions, please, onto the lines, and the other 3, I suppose, are going to try and widen the front lines to ensure that they're not reinforcing anywhere in the north. The rest of them needs to break through towards Memel and cause the Germans some significant grief. All right, how are the attacks on Odessa looking? They're crashing into the north here. Some scattered. There's still 1 armored division here. Some scattered divisions, but nothing major. And this, for now, is holding against weakening Austrian attacks. But we're going to have to give them some time to dig in there against everything else. Okay, the Union of Britain is actually, the syndicalists are still making headway here and breaking through into France. So this might end up actually being, well, we'll see, if Germany counterattacks, that might actually end up being being under German control once more. We'll see what that brings in the end. But for now, we'll focus on our situation here. How is it looking in the air? We actually have green air, but despite heavy enemy presence, we have green air. We're trading 1 to 3, which is a bit less than that, which isn't bad if you include the bombers, yes, which is still good, but still not great. We have dealt mostly with the Ukrainian situation, but Belarus, actually, no, they seem to have taken the Air Force off the lines here for now, maybe redeploying towards the French regions again. So yeah, Germany can't catch a break, which is obviously to our absolute advantage. And it looks like Shteyfon is going to manage to break out here without much further ado. He's got 5 tank divisions at his hands in Kaunas. The Germans are reinforcing lines. We're facing now 8 divisions. But I think the tanks are going to break through that, especially that we have air support, without too much trouble. And we'll launch a separate assault in the north with the assistance of the 9th Army to to push back the enemy and see if we can make a break for it. Okay, just keeping an eye. This is a ambitious attack from Georgian units. I wish they would just focus on defense, but obviously I have no control over it. The assaults are weakening here. Yeah, definitely weakening. The majority of the German panzer divisions has been moved off the lines here. It could be to deal with the French situation, so we might have a window of opportunity. We do have 3 dockyards, which means we actually would be reasonably. I've still got about 2.5 months until the next research is done for a larger refit. So I was we're building one of the Admiral Ushakovs. Do we have anything else that can currently be refitted on the? We've got slight upgrades for the Ushakovs here, but nothing really major. What else do we have? We've got a few. I think we had a few. We've got a few old light cruisers. I'm not sure it's going to be worth refitting those. What's the design looking like on this? That's actually not dreadful, but what is this? The Diana class. Let's see if we can do anything with that and get these to refit while we're waiting for the big guns. So that would be a light cruiser and of the Diana class. That is not actually a terrible one. We can get the designer on board for starters, which is going to improve their speed. Do we have improved? I'm just going to see how. I don't think the improved cruiser armor is going to make much of a difference. However, we can upgrade the guns on these things. And I don't see why they would have 120mm cannons when we've got the 150s available to us. But that's a massive refit cost. Oh yeah, there we go. It's the equipment conversion tech that actually speeds this up. So this would we could call this the Diana B, and we do have radar, which we don't really need. This is already expensive enough as it is on these old ships, but that would make these a. What if I leave the armor down? Yeah, that's one of the really expensive ones. I'm going to leave the armor out, but just upgrade the rest of them. How about the engines? That is a marginal improvement for a significant cost. So we'll stick with the old engines, we'll stick with the old armor. Obviously, this is the most difficult to replace. And then we'll see if we can do the what if we replace the 120 mils with, actually the difference is really marginal. It's probably not even worth it. So we'll just leave the 120mm secondaries in. It's still, it would still be, can we compare that? Where's the Diana? The old Diana. There it is. Yeah, it's a notable uptick in firepower. So we'll save that design, which means we can now, if we go back to the fleet, take the take the old Diana and get that refitted, which is going to 31 days. Sounds good. And we'll send that to refit, and that should give the naval bases something to do. All right. In the meantime, we do have to keep an eye on the air situation in the north. Yeah, because they are starting to overwhelm us here numerically. After they've abandoned Belarus, they've noticed the danger. But we don't have any more aircraft to commit here, because we also need to support the Ukrainian front. So anti-air is going to have to do the rest of it. And we are working our way through the relatively exhausted German troops here in a rapid fashion, and we will try and see if we can push them away. They do have, obviously, they are relatively strong, but I think the tanks can make the break, and then if we can use the momentum, we should have the supply out of Kaunas, which is overloaded. We're overloading all the supply lines here at this point, which is another problem, by the way, for further advances, because you see that, no? We do have a supply hub there in the north, but I am going to go for Memel and see if we can push the Germans back towards Memel. That would be the goal. I'm going to get some of the infantry to follow that up here, because the 9th is going to have to support the lines here. Just giving a quick look on the attacks. Okay, von Manstein is back, but he's mostly just taking command of the Austrians at this point. This is still the major battles, but these battles should become relatively costly as well for the enemy. Yeah, it's like they're trying to force the river and against Odessa, and they are taking significant losses trying to do so. So that is going to really uptick their losses in a relatively short period of time. Now we do have to make sure, and that's why I'm sending the second group in the north to secure the lines here. We'll make sure that we have to use the momentum and not give them time to dig in anywhere. So we've got the northern group already breaking through, pushing the exhausted Germans ahead of them, and we do have to make sure the infantry is going to take some time to catch up. So we're going to have to make sure that we leave one armored division behind here, and keep using the momentum to push forward towards Memel, while the 1st, 2nd, and 7th are clearing out the positions in the north, and not giving them an opportunity to reorganize or counterattack. Of course, once the infantry has caught up, and then the lines are stable, but it also reduces the danger of the tanks being cut off, which is something we definitely want to avoid. Odessa holding relatively well. How far the fortification works? Yeah, not getting anywhere, unfortunately, at this point. So they've noticed that the fortifications in the southern flank were lacking, and are exploiting that. The syndicalists are still making gains here in France. So we will see. We'll see how that ends up playing out. But the more important factor at this point is the north. However, okay, we're taking significant losses now on fighters due to enemy numerical superiority, and also it's always a question of quality. So the majority of the enemy fighters by now are modern Focke-Wulf 190s. Whereas for us, the bulk of it is still on the slightly older I-180 models, but we are we've hopefully got enough to support the troops on the ground. While there is a desperate counterattack, I don't see the enemy having a chance to. Yeah, this is one. So Kurt Hase is an overall command of this, and some of Guderian's troops actually we've encountered here as well. So let's follow up with the infantry while the armor pushes on, and we will see if we can actually secure the line along the river here. And we have completed a psychological warfare. That was... Why did I do that? Compliance growth speed, yes. And damage to garrisons. That was quite useful. Do I have anything else that I need right now? I'm not gonna... Probably just get the cryptology further up. I'm going to dump one into passive defense. We are going to get another agent at some point, but not my primary goal right now. We do have a relatively good understanding of the situation everywhere along the front lines, so that should help as well. All right, infantry is catching up, and we are... it looks like we are poised to, while they are viciously counterattacking, we are poised to try and push towards Memel. That said, we are going to need multiple armored divisions to make that happen. And obviously the Germans that have retreated across the river are trying to defeat this as quickly as they can. Noticeable assault here. We've got 6 divisions under von Kluge against the relatively weak infantry lines in the center here. Fortifications. Okay, why are these fortifications not done? These need priority. These fortifications. Yeah, they're very good at spotting thin lines in our fortifications. Might send a second division over, or maybe 2 more, to stabilize the lines here a bit better. And the Kubrin lines here are relatively well fortified across the board. So even if we have to fall back from this position, it's not the end of the world. Much more importantly is our breakout here at this point. So we're already going to secure the supply hub here with the infantry. But the tanks have the task of pushing the enemy ahead of them to ensure that they do not have an opportunity to regain, to reorganize, and that we keep maintaining the initiative here. All right, friendly troops. It looks like friendly Afghani troops are now marching through, and we will be moving towards and cutting off Riga. Obviously, Riga can be supplied from the sea, so even if we have isolated Riga, we still need the specialized divisions to actually deal with that. But so far, the assault has been a major success, and everything else along the lines appears to be holding. And in the air, we're not at parity, but we're holding our own. We're holding our own here. All right, we have secured Xiaolie, and obviously we do need to get the Kaunas is massively under strain now when it comes to supply. But once we have the situation under control on the ground, the engineers can come in. Combat engineers can come in to connect the railway lines, and we are dealing with a determined German counterattack here from the south. And the Afghanis are retreating again from the lines here, but we should have enough firepower to make it towards Memel itself, and then we can assist with the assault south. And I think we have 1 tank division here that can already be sent there. Yeah. All right, last battles. The 1st and 7th have broken through. The 2nd is currently fighting with retreating German troops, and has pushed them over the bridges towards Memel, which means Memel is now taken, and that means we'll send the 7th south to help defend, but the rest of them can begin the cleanup operations and secure the lines along the north here, while we are obviously now moving infantry divisions around everywhere, which means we can start getting the 9th Army to begin the pushing from the east and work towards isolating Riga. We're actually going to start another assault on Riga itself, just to pin the enemy divisions in place, and we'll get whatever we have from the 9th Army to close that gap and isolate the enemy troops before they can make any movements. All right, for now, everything is holding. Okay, stay where you are. Hold that. Okay, everything seems to be holding for now. We've got the tank divisions along the lines in the south here, and we're waiting for infantry to catch up. But the critical question is, can we contain, to make sure that we're containing the Germans here and not giving them an opportunity to break out. And we are moving in from the east with 9th Army forces. And with that, I think we have, how many divisions do we know of? That's 3, 6, 9, 15, and a few miscellaneous. So we do have we do have a fair amount of troops now encircled that are not getting out of here. And the democratic curriculum is complete. And the super heavy tank chassis. Alright, so we've got some things to do. Alright, first of all, we've got democratic education, which gives me a 10% party popularity stability modifier, which don't really need because stability was kind of okay. But we've also angered the right wing, because obviously they are not in favor of democracy, so both of them are wary at this point. Which is not an awful lot we can do about this. If they're coming to 3, then we could enact any of these political measures to mollify them. But for now, much more interesting, we can go for the self-defense of democracy, because right now we are still at strengthening democracy, and I would like to be at stable democracy. Hopefully that puts an end to enemy or to attempts by local groups to undermine things. We don't actually need the judicial reform. Actually, we could just do the judicial reform, because that's going to do the same thing and doesn't cost me that much. Yeah, that's the only thing that the only side effect of that is that Nabokov becomes a political advisor. And I don't know if he's going to replace Nekrasov, because I kind of like him better than that. But it reduces the left-wing anger. So this would give me stable democracy without having to go through the pains of this. Although it is a sort of a left-wing push. Whereas this one, but this gives me 180 days of. Actually, that may actually not be bad, because it is minus 5% political power gain, but it reduces the support for all the fringe areas. So. Anything that is radical socialist. Yeah, we're going with self-defense of democracy, because that actually hopefully reduces the impact that these are having, that these fringe elements are having to destabilize things. So we'll do that, self-defense of democracy. And I have a free, so we've done the super heavy tanks, which I am very excited about. I think the advanced flamethrower would be good, or the Astrov series as well, so we can actually start having some more capable light tanks and replace the aging BT-7s here. Decisions. Yeah, we'll do this. Let's get that underway, and that is going to take a while, but once it's done, then we can do that. More interestingly, I should now be able to. I have the super heavy tank chassis. Oh dear. Let's see what we can do with these things. Okay, I'm actually going to do this on screen because it's more, I think it's probably not something you see very frequently. So let's do this together. And we'll obviously have to compare to the RV1, because that's our heavy tank. I'm going to go for the same thing. So infantry tank, 4 kilometers an hour speed. I'm happy with that, but lots of armor and firepower. Now, I did have what was it? Was it a research or was it a special project? I had something. Oh, we can do the. Do we have? Yeah, we need more breakthrough points. Okay, yes. Can I see the completed projects? No, by the looks of it, not. I had something that gave me a gun that I wasn't sure I could use on anything, and somebody said in the comments it was for the heavy tank, but I can't remember what it was. Was it a research? Was it an earlier research that I did? Something gave me a gun that I wanted to use. Was it down here in the? Sorry, not you. Where am I? Was it down here? Hull-mounted railway gun. Not sure if that's a thing that I can use, or was it somewhere? I can't remember where it was. It was somewhere, but there was a gun type that I couldn't use. So right now I've got the I have a 3-man turret on this, or I could get a 4-man turret. What's the difference? More breakthrough and more heart attack. Well, let's put a 4-man turret. Well, we'll build it. We'll try around a little bit with this because I've never done this before. So let's see. Okay, we've got super heavy armaments, but we only have the super heavy cannon. An absurdly large weapon with unmatched performance. That might be the thing that I was thinking of. So that's like, I'm not even sure what that would be. Like 150 millimeter howitzer or maybe a 200 millimeter gun of some sort. Okay, we're going to have to put the radio in, obviously. What do we have? Second, that's just the regular stuff. And if there any special module. So for example, I don't see the railway gun thing here. Maybe I can't mount that on this. Not sure. But so generally I like to use sloped armor, and then we'll have to do a little bit about the end. Oh, good grief, the reliability. Okay, so the super heavy cannon is having a massive impact on reliability. So we are probably going to have to do something about that. So wet ammunition storage is probably going to be needed here. The problem is I'm going to have to get the speed up on this thing because... So firepower, significant. What if we compare that to the RV2A though? Because that has more soft attack than this thing. Although this thing is an absolute tank killer. 247 piercing. So that thing can basically one-shot enemy tanks. It's almost overkill, to be honest. I'm not too happy about the low reliability, though. I don't think there's much I can do about it. We can go down to torsion bar, but that gets the engine even worse. And I do need 4 kilometers an hour, and I can't push this any further. So torsion bar is not an option. We do have to go with the Christie suspension. I don't like 62% reliability, though. That is not something I'm particularly fond of. I don't think there's anything else that I can get to improve reliability, though. That would make it worse. Not really. So so if we do it like this, that would end us up with a very expensive tank that has somewhat better armor than the RV series, but probably in the realm of the Germans are never going to be doing anything about that. Why doesn't it have any hardness? That makes no sense whatsoever. That should be very high. I don't understand why that's so low. I do have to say I was expecting a bit more out of that sort of super weapon. Specifically the low reliability I'm not happy with. I mean, we could bring it down to a 3-man turret, which is doing that a bit of a... Yeah, I think we're going to have to do that because the reliability otherwise is going to be abysmal. So, and that allows us to, that also makes it a bit lighter. That allows us to draw the engine down a bit more. So now we're getting close to 80%, which is something I can sort of live with. We could so we definitely have to throw a maintenance company into that thing. Yeah, the Putilovets doesn't help because it does add significantly to, add to armor, but it doesn't help with reliability, which wasn't really a problem with the heavy tanks, but the super heavy, that's a bit more of an issue. I could use a different tank designer, but then I'm losing all the benefits here. So not really. Yeah, not really a fan of using a different designer, and then I don't get any of the bonuses. I think we can live with that. So that would be the AN super heavy tank with a super heavy cannon. Now, was there a research out there? Let me push that to the side as much as I can. Was there a research out there that I've missed that was producing anything that I could stick onto this thing? That's improved medium cannon. That's the heavy. That was the howitzer. I'm not entirely certain if there was anything. I don't think there was anything here. This is a high impact obliterator cannon. That is, I'm not sure. not sure that, yeah, that seems like a bit of an outlandish concept. But this would, does this count as a land cruiser? Special, oh no, that still unlocks the special product. Okay, so this is just a super heavy tank, but it's not the land cruiser. Okay, so the land cruiser is still coming. Okay, so I don't actually have to do this. Instead, it has unlocked the land cruiser special project. Okay, now that makes more sense. Do we have the Moscow land? Okay, but this needs three. This needs the 3 breakthrough points. Okay, now I'm on board here, and that, once we've done that, gets us the land cruiser project for basically the Ratte. So this would be the mouse, so that would be the rat. Yeah, I think we're not going to produce these in any time soon anyway, so we might as well just continue for now and see if we can get the land cruiser project underway. And concentrate more on the situation on the ground here, where we are pinning the enemy at Riga with costly advances. But I am going to need at least a few tank divisions to begin helping out in the north here. So let's do that. Just keeping an eye on everything else to make sure that the lines are holding, and the lines seem to be stable. So sending the tanks north now that we're starting to see to get infantry to help here as well. But the assaults around Riga are marching ahead, and I don't think the enemy troops here have much of a choice than to retreat. So here we can assist with the attack and keep pushing northwards with whatever we have to cut them off along the river, to cut them off at the sea. And there I think we can push these back into Riga at this point almost. And which is probably less than ideal, because that means we'll have to fight them in Riga. Noticeable counterattack, but I don't think they'll get through here. The tank division should have that. More of a problem is the supply, because Memel is heavily damaged, and the other supply hubs aren't available just yet. But I think we will have that here under control reasonably soon. Everything here is fortified anyway, so I don't think it makes much of a difference if I'm fighting them in Riga or elsewhere. So we're just going to try and isolate them as much as possible, and make sure that we cut them off from supply, while the infantry is going to help. The defense at the river line is holding, and the Germans are now in a much worse position than they were previously. That said, now that we're holding that line, we do have to begin fortifying it, because once we know already how this game goes. Once Guderian is done with whatever he's been pulled away to do, then they are going to launch attacks again. It might be that, yeah, they've lost Toulouse already. It might be that Guderian has been pulled towards France to deal with the uprising here, and the Italians have been isolated. So this could be a massive defeat for the syndicalists here. And it looks like the French Republic is being stabilized. So let's deal with the situation in the north and destroy as many divisions as we can while we're here. We're short of Riga itself, for which we are still waiting for the specialized troops. Okay, so Riga has been encircled, and we now have to make sure that we're besieging this properly. So let's put 7 divisions on Riga. That should be sufficient to hold them in place. There's still 6 divisions in there, but the rest of the armored divisions is breaking through towards clearing that out, and the rest of the 9th can hold the southern flank here, while the tank divisions are working on clearing out the positions. I can probably pull one more out here. And with that, I think the last port that they have under their control is this one. So Riga is isolated, but obviously Riga is Riga is can be supplied by sea. So unless we're beginning to move out from Riga towards into the Baltic, and we're starting to cut off their supply on at sea, they're not getting anywhere. All right, we've got a large number of enemy divisions now concentrated here, and we'll be throwing all units onto the lines to clear out that. But it looks like the 6th Army, the 5th Mechanized here in the north, is going to have to try and hold that, and it has held against enemy counterattacks, which means it's now up to the infantry to clear out the northern part, and once the infantry arrives, we'll clear the southern part as well. And we do have armored divisions now as well to deal with the situation here. But okay, can we please not abandon Riga and let them break out from there? So let's make sure that we get at least a few divisions. I might need a bit more. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's make it 8 divisions. And that is the northern part. And they are now, they're now getting wiped out at Lipaja, the last port under their control. And with that, I think we're then freeing up sufficient divisions to begin besieging Riga. And that has been a significant defeat for the Reichspakt. We'll have to tally up the overall losses. And that should also, we have held up in the air. So to my great surprise, we do have bombing runs in Belarus and obvious air support for the attacks here, which isn't going to make that easier because they are going to be bombed. But the Russian, we only have enough air force to be in one place at a time, unfortunately. So and let's get this completed, and then we can get the armies redeployed. And I think that was the last German division. And with that, we have almost complete control. We can now stop the assaults here. I'm going to get that one division to move over there. And then everybody else can dig in and let them come out of Riga if they want to. So they can supply it by air and they can supply it by sea. And the 6th Army has once again taken a significant beating in these assaults. So once again, the 6th Army is going to be brought back into the rear. We'll probably deploy them around Minsk for now. So I don't see them breaking through at Odessa anytime soon. So we'll deploy them at Minsk. And actually, somebody is attempting to bomb, or the Germans are trying to bomb the land warfare facility in Kiev. That is unfortunate. We should have control over the air, so that should not be a massive problem. I don't think I can spare anything else. We've got a 20% chance to repel it. We don't have. We could send the fighters up on intercept, but then I don't have enough to deal with air superiority. So, yeah, we might have to take that hit on the Kiev land warfare facility, because I don't see that we can bring the fighters anywhere. 18 divisions is too much from the 9th, so let's see. I need these divisions on that, and everybody else elsewhere. So let's sort that out. We have the 9th, and the 9th will be concentrated here, except for these, which will be there. Okay. So we've got Riga. We have Riga under, and you do need to go there. We have Riga under Raps. We've got the 10th Army to come in as well to support the lines here, but against a potential German counterattack, which is obviously on the books. But overall, we have inflicted, and let us see, 60, 70, 150, 160,000 losses to the Reichspakt in this Blitz campaign. And I think that was the summer offensive, because now once again, the infantry equipment situation looks good, The light tanks are once again in dire straits, and our fighters as well. So any new production, anti-tank is direly needed, yes, but everything else as well is in dire. We can refit a few of these RV2s. Everything else as well, especially fighters. We've only got 20 factories on that. I am going to probably need 30 on that. So we do have enough rubber at this point, so that's at least not a problem. If we look at trades, we're producing a good amount of rubber at this point. So I think we are in a sensible position when it comes to these things. The big question now is: are we going to now that we're no longer running offensive operations? Are we going to continue the Baltics, or am I going to send the fighters over to Ukraine and give them a bit of a rest? Because the fighter wings have been, that's what we're going to do. The fighter wings are very much under strength at this point. So we'll put some on intercept and probably give them some time to restore themselves, because right now they're not in a good shape. How far away are our specialized divisions? They are fully equipped. All they need is they're still in November. Our training time is quite annoyingly long. We could deploy them and have them train in the field, but or we could throw them against Riga as green divisions. We'll bring them already to the front line in Riga. Okay, so we'll have these three. They are deployed. They're obviously still very green, which gives them negative combat modifiers. But this is going to be a specialized army for urban combat and fortification assault, and in the second European front under Sergei Markov. And who do we have who is qualified to lead them? Let's see. That's planning speed. Motorized doesn't really matter. Ideally, I'd have somebody who's got like Fortress Buster or something, but I don't think I have anybody with that skill. Let me have a look around and I'll see if I can find anyone. Okay, we don't have anybody directly with a skill, but I do have Leonid Govorov, who is a harsh leader, inflexible strategist, but an artillery officer. And that means if I... he doesn't have the artillery leader. How does he get the artillery leader skill? Artillery ratio over 20%. That might work. So I'm going to deploy him here, and he will be taking care of these troops. So we will give them a front line on the northern section of Riga. And but for now we'll send them there and we'll get them to exercise. So these troops under Govorov will be exercising, and I think we have the end for our episode because the Kaiser has died. Short after the debacle in France, Kaiser Wilhelm II, the German emperor, has died of a pulmonary embolism in his home today. One of the last monarchs of the 19th century, Wilhelm II tried to continue the legacy of European greatness and world leadership. He initiated the policy of Weltpolitik, which bore fruit after the Weltkrieg as Germany became the foremost power of the world. He was the last leader of the old school, a bulwark against radicalism, a rallying point in war, a stable leader in unstable times. With his death, Kronprinz Friedrich Wilhelm will ascend to the throne as Wilhelm III. More of a modernizer and extremist than his father, his succession marks a sea change in German politics and diplomacy. How German partners and rivals will react is yet uncertain, but what is sure is that with Wilhelm II's death, the long waning of the 19th century is finally complete. So Germany will now be under Wilhelm III as the new emperor, and was somewhat older than our very own Vladimir III. But we will see. We will see what kind of changes he's going to bring in. Meanwhile, Spain is collapsing, and it looks like the syndicalist holdout around the southern parts of France is shrinking as well, while the Austrians have made rapid breakthroughs in Italy. Quick look around the country. The fighting in the Persians are still fighting against the Germans in Africa, but it looks like a bit of a stalemate. Yes, we are holding this position. Yes, we have a cavalry division there. No, I don't care. Yes, we could have held Beirut for a smaller one, but that is literally where the Russian naval base goes. So nope, that's what we're doing. Other than that, Japan still hasn't launched their naval invasion. I'm assuming that that's what they're doing. They're planning like a massive 200-day planning time naval invasion or something. And everything else seems to be reasonably quiet. I don't know if the Khanate or anything here is going to cause some trouble, but we do have some troops in the area, most of which are untrained. So I don't think they'll be launching a surprise attack. So we'll actually get them to train up. These divisions have no supply. Why do these divisions have no supply? Because we are too far away from the supply positions, which is irritating. Because that means they are actually suffering from supply issues at the front and attrition. So I'll try to redraw the lines to make sure that everyone here has supply. We'll just pull them back a little bit further from the front lines. It's a fallback line anyway. And yeah, with that, we have made our gain. Now the next, now once again, for probably the second half of 1941, the task is going to be to retake Riga. So the siege of Riga will happen, and to hold the line and reconstitute our forces, because the Air Force is severely beaten after this campaign, and the troops on the ground are just short of everything. The tank divisions are not, the tanks are not enough in number, and the civilian industry still has to get through constructing the fortifications everywhere. I think we can probably reduce the number of anti-air defenses at this point. That used to be a problem, but we haven't really gotten to it. So I'm just going to complete the ones that are already under works. These as well. Now that we're actually further in the front lines, I might build up radar stations closer to the lines here. So let's get some radar up here. Odessa is already in the works. So additional radar stations being constructed, and that'll actually help us relatively quickly. But yeah, we've got a lot. I'm going to cancel the airports for now because the situation probably has somewhat changed once we retake Riga. And then we'll get through the other things first. The airports are not that important because we don't have the Air Force anyway. So I want to get through that massive backlog, and I want to get back to the factories. We probably have to improve our frontline supply situation somewhat. So I might prioritize relieving some of the overburdened supply hubs here, especially Venezia is in dire need of additional supply. The bottleneck's already scheduled. So supply lines, organize, deal with the situation on the ground, and get ready for the push into the Reichspakt proper against the United States of Greater Austria and the German Empire. But for that, we are going to need a capable air force. We're going to need a capable ground force, and we can also begin naval operations, because the Swedes are not making it to Oslo. So as long as Norway still stands, we might actually have a chance of performing a landing in Sweden or behind German lines somewhere near Königsberg. These would be options, but they have, if you look at the sheer number of troops here, They have massive numbers of divisions along the front lines here, significantly more than what we have available to us. So we are forced into a defensive stance, probably for the rest of 1941. But that was too good of an opportunity to ignore, and that has given us a significantly better forward position for now.